Hello, I'm Kevin Dixon, the host of the most from Talk to Me Sports Radio, and I'm sitting here with the founder of Talk to Me Sports Radio, Raymond Bennett. We have a new episode called I'm a Fan of. Ray leads, so we're all gonna follow behind Ray when it comes to this. So Ray, let's get it cracking already here. How you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
It's a pleasure being here with you, Kevin Dixon.
Thank you very much, Ray. What's your favorite team and why?
My favorite team is the New York Knicks. The reason why, because my dad and my uncle used to take me to games at Madison Square Garden. Used to watch the games on Channel 9 with Cal Ramsey and Bob Wolf. Listen to them with John Andres and Marv Albert. So those are my memories.
So you pretty much would say you was born to be a Knicks fan, because your father was a Knicks fan, so you grew up being a Knicks fan sometimes like that. Is that how that happened with you?
Yeah, I think so. And I had a chance, an opportunity to see them play and see the players and just to be in that environment. It's just amazing. I always tell people, if you get a chance to visit a sports arena and to go to a game, it'll give you perspective on what the players go through and what is actually going on. So
people say when they go to the Garden, they get goose pimples because of all the history that's there. So when you went to a game, how did that make you feel?
Oh man, I'm hitting the Wayback Machine because I'm trying to go back to when I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. There's nothing like it. There's nothing, and this is the old Garden, and then they moved to the new Garden. I can't remember exactly what time they switched over, but there's nothing when you're going to the Garden, and it's 9 times out of 10, it's usually in I want to say October, November, and you're walking, and you got to walk fast because you got to park your car far away, and you got to pick up the pace because you're walking to the Garden, and there's popcorn popping, and the pretzel man is on the corner, and somebody's over there selling hot dogs, and it's a whole get your Knicks banners here, get all of this, and I got two tickets to the 13th row. It's like going to the circus and everything. Everybody's like, yo, what you think they're gonna do tonight? Then you walk through the turnstile and you give up your ticket, and they punch and they escort you down to where you're sitting. And we used to sit not too far behind the Knicks bench, and it was like, wow. So the next day when I went to school, I was popular because I was like, yo, I seen Frazier last night or the Pearl, or I seen Willis Reed, and I seen Lonnie Shelton, and Dean Meminger.
Let me ask you a question here. What was the first memory of that team or of the Knicks that you can remember?
Them winning the championship. I could remember just clear as day. Chris Schenkel was calling the game on ABC. And Reed is coming. He's coming out the locker room. Willis Reed limping out the locker room. And though everyone was 69, I might have been 6 years old. And to see Reed limp out the locker room on ABC, and the crowd is going wild. The crowd in New York is going wild. And the buzz, and then Reed came out, and they panned the screen, and you saw the Lakers. They had Chamberlain and Baylor and West and Goodrich and all those players, quality players. And then the Knicks were just so excited, and Frazier and that team, they had Frazier, Bradley, Barnett. Monroe didn't play with that first team that won the championship. And when the game started off, Reed hit two jump shots, and he limped. He was limping because he couldn't do anything. He hit one, then he hit another, and it was over for them. And the Knicks went on to really pound them. Frazier had 38 points and 19 assists.
Wow. Let's talk about a memory that you want to get rid of the Knicks.
Here's what I do. When things pain me, I make them disappear in my head. It's like, what was that show with Will Smith that he did? Men in Black. I just blanked that out. It never happened. There's never been a painful moment. No, let me stop. There's been a lot of painful moments with the Knicks. Some horrific moments.
Only
I guess the one that stands out was when they're playing Indiana, back and forth. That was a series where Reggie Miller went off and scored like 9 points in 8 seconds or whatever, and it was like, he's stealing the ball, and he's shooting again, and he's stealing the ball. And the Pacers won that game, and what a lot of people fail to realize, they thought that was the game that won them the series, and it wasn't. The Knicks had came back, and the Knicks was up, and, and then the play that stands out is that Patrick Ewing is driving to the basket. And here's the thing, if you follow Pat, everything with Pat is a dunk.
Dunk, yeah, exactly.
He's going strong. He's dunking on people. He's screaming. He's pushing you out the way. All of a sudden, for some crazy reason, he drives to the basket and he lets it go like he's the Iceman and decides to finger roll, and it falls short. And I'm like, really, Pat? Really? But that sticks out. There've been a lot of painful memories with
I remember that too, because I was pulling for the Knicks to get to the championship on that right there. Now, the New York Knicks have so many great players that come through there. But who was that one favorite player that, if you had an opportunity to watch or, meet or get an autograph or take a picture with, who would that player be?
See, I'm not really a big autograph or picture-taking guy. But I tell you, watching the Pearl, and when the Knicks acquired the Pearl from Washington, well, it was the Baltimore Bullets at that time. They traded Mike Reardon and I think it was Dave Stallworth to the Bullets, and they got Mike Reardon. They got Earl the Pearl. I was ecstatic them in one. I was like, wow, we got the Pearl.
Yeah, Washington ain't lived that down since then. That was a great trade for the Knicks.
So there was always this, can Pearl and Frazier Mish at the same time? Can they make the magic happen? And Pearl came in, and he's with his spinning top moves, and Walt with his cool, slick plays, and it was a perfect thing. It was made in heaven. There was an all-star, and they end up being top 50 players. So that was those two guys. Those two are probably two of my favorites.
Okay, Ray. Everybody thinks their team is special in their own way. And you can't disagree with somebody when they tell you their team's special because of how they feel about them. Mm-hmm. But what is so special about the New York Knicks that you love the most?
I think one of the things that made the Knicks special is that they were one of the original basketball teams that came into the NBA. And going to the Garden, man, if you've never been there, there's a reason why it's called the Mecca. Everybody goes there and they perform. Kobe's performed, Chamberlain, Jabbar growing up in New York City. All the players, Jordan has done his thing there. I think it's one of the things about the Garden is that they have announcers who announce and call Knicks games that go on to be special. When you had a Bob Wolf, a Hall of Famer, Marv calling the games on Channel 9 with Cal Ramsey, then you had John Andres and Marv Albert calling the games on radio. That was very special too. So you listen to that. You listen to the cadence of Marv Albert here. 19,400 people here at Madison Square Garden. All right, the Knicks hit the ball. Frazier with the ball. Frazier over to Monroe. Back to Frazier over to Monroe. Back over to Bradley. Bradley back to Frazier. Back to the Busher. And Reed shoots his shot. Yes, and a foul.
And
the excitement.
The one thing about sports back in the day when we were growing up was sometimes the games wasn't on TV. And it was on the radio, and I love listening to a basketball game on the radio because it makes you feel like you're right there at the game. So that makes it even that much better. And I wish the kids today would get the opportunity to sit down and watch it. To sit down and listen to a game on the radio, and I think they would like it if they really love sports.
Yeah.
But now, Ray, there's always a team that's maybe in the back of your mind that you say, man, I wish I could be a fan of them. Is there any team that you would leave the Knicks for?
I wouldn't leave the Knicks for them. I tell you, there's a team that I've loved, and the reason why I loved them was because of one man, and that's the Oakland Raiders. I live in New York, and I like the Giants, and I follow the Giants. But there is Al Davis, by the way, was born in Boston but grew up in Brooklyn. Went to Erasmus High School. There's something special about people from Brooklyn who are able to connect. Howard Cosell, Woody Allen, Barbra Streisand, the list goes on and on. and I think that what he's able to do, the phrase, the commitment to excellence.
Right.
The autumn wind is a Raider. All those things, when you hear it, dun, 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 that they've been associated with some of the greatest moments. The high roller, the
catch,
Casper,
the miracle catch,
Casper to the post. What's that game against the Steelers where the Steelers robbed them?
Franco Harris. The miracle,
the immaculate reception.
Yeah.
So they've always been associated with some incredible games, and he was one of the first. He hired Art Shell, and I mean the list of players, and they've been robbed several times too. That fake fumble, that tuck rule, which they created. I've never seen anything like that. And every chance they get to stick it to the Raiders that they do, and there's a backdrop to that because Rozelle never liked Al Davis because Al Davis always challenged him.
Right.
So it's the Raiders, the silver and black. There's a uniqueness about them.
And it's funny that you say that because I know if there was one football team that I would choose, it would probably definitely be the Raiders that I would cheer for because it's just something about them that is really good. But ladies and gentlemen, that is my show for tonight. I am a fan of. Look forward to us in the near future. Raymond Ben, I want to thank you for allowing us to talk about you and the Knicks.
It's my pleasure. Any chance we get together to talk about sports, feel free to call me.
Have a good night.
You too.